Now we have our newest member, Jeanne, giving Icebreaker speech. She wrote a speech about her experiences, recollections, and insights about traveling around by train. The title of her speech is All on Board. Maybe she should have add a tutu there. Pros and cons of taking Amtrak. Please tell me welcome Jeanne Falla. Woo!
Just about everybody I know, over say 22 or 36, 45, however old you are, has some memory in the past or knows somebody that has some memory in the past of taking Amtrak in their life. Whether you took the train when you were a kid on a family vacation, during one big travel adventure when you were a young adult, traveling all over the country or all over the world, or maybe just more recently as a day tripper. You just want to go from one side of the Bay Area to the other side of the Bay Area without having to worry about the hassle of driving or trying to find parking. In this speech, I want to convey to you the beauty, the fascination, the wonder, as well as the drawbacks of this particular form of transportation. So, all on board, here we go. And here are the pros of taking Amtrak. First off is the scenery. Amtrak train tracks just don't follow the same path as the freeway, which allows you to see all kinds of things that you'd never see on the freeway. And you can actually focus on them without having to keep your eye on the road, on your rear view mirror, and also on that moron, on that idiot in the other lane who's trying to cut you off while you're blasting along at 70 miles an hour on the freeway. During many times I've taken Amtrak, I have been treated to some very impressive scenery. One of my first trips was the Coast Starlight, which was headed up to Portland, where I remember waking up in my sleeping car as it was passing through Southern Oregon and feeling like we're almost just hurtling right into the trees. It was just so lush, so green, and so dense, with all that flora and fauna all over the where, all in all directions. It was really a sight to behold. And then the Surfliner trip I took many years ago from Anaheim all the way down to San Diego. There, the train tracks just run so close to the coastline, you almost feel like they're hugging the Pacific Ocean, the coast. And I remember seeing blue shimmering waves just pounding on the sand. And it all seemed to just glisten under that bright afternoon Southern California sun. Then, more recently, I saw the sunrise over Sassoon Bay as I was taking a Capital commuter train from Martinez to Sacramento. How inspiring it was to see that yellow orb of the sun as it slowly ascended over the delta, just bringing the morning light into the darkness of dawn. And don't forget the relatively short trip I took on Amtrak from San Jose up to Richmond BART, where I could see the expansive delta marsh of Alviso, and that's in between Fremont and San Jose. The tracks seemed to be so low that I felt like the train was just cruising on top of the water at times. Now that I've covered the pros, the first pro, the second pro is, the convenience and the cost. For instance, a trip from Martinez to, say, Truckee, uh, all the way up through Tahoe area, one way, runs as low as $38, which is probably less than the cost of gas to fill up your car or your truck. And then the other pros, of course, are, not having to squeeze your body into a cramped airline seat, and you can take as much luggage as you want on top of it. Now, as with any form of transportation, here's the cons. The main one is the time, or rather lack of efficiency. For example, you can get to LA from the Bay Area in just 1 hour by plane, and then 6 hours driving, depending on how fast you drive. Say 8 hours Greyhound, but it's probably going to take at least 12 hours on Amtrak, which pretty much it pretty much rules out this form of transportation for a large swath of the American public. Another con is the reliability issue, or rather lack of it, as many trains arrive at destinations, not just minutes, but could be hours late. So I blame funding cuts and mismanagement for a lot of those awful issues. So, what's the verdict here? All depends. I'll just end by saying that as far as I can see, depending on how much time, how much flexibility I have, I will still consider taking Amtrak to places that I'd like to see.
Thank you so much, Jeanne. Wow. Now I know you as another fellow train lover. I also love trains and I choose them over planes for many reasons. And I can confirm that a lot of the pros and cons that you mentioned are very, very true. Thank you.